You ever walk into a place thinking it's just another Tuesday night and walk out realizing you've seen the whole ugly truth of how the system works? Yeah, that's exactly what happened to Marcus Williams. It was close to 11 p.m. when the automatic doors at St. Mary's Hospital slid open, and Marcus came rushing in faded jeans, old sneakers, hoodie pulled tight, and in his arms, his 8-year-old daughter Sophia. She was burning up, trembling with fever, tiny fingers gripping his sweatshirt like she was holding on for dear life. The waiting room glowed with that harsh, too bright fluorescent light that makes everyone look a little sick. A few scattered patients sat in plastic chairs, an old man clutching his chest, a teenager with a hand wrapped in gauze, a young mom trying to bounce a crying baby into silence. The air smelled like disinfectant and stress. Behind the glass partition sat Susan, the triage nurse. She didn't look up from her phone at first. When she did, her eyes flicked over Marcus' messy hair, worn hoodie, no wedding ring, and her tone landed somewhere between bored and mildly annoyed. "Stomach pain?" she asked, like it was barely worth mentioning. "Could this wait until morning? There's an urgent care about 10 minutes away." Marcus swallowed the frustration in his throat. "She's been running a 102-degree fever and vomiting for 6 hours," he said evenly. "This could be appendicitis. She needs to be examined immediately." Something in his tone, measured, authoritative, made her blink. Most parents in here were either pleading or panicking. Marcus sounded like he'd been in rooms where people listened when he spoke. Still, she didn't move fast. She started typing, slow enough you'd think the keyboard might break if she pressed too hard. "Do you have good insurance?" she asked, the emphasis on good landing like a slap. Marcus just set a sleek black corporate card on the counter, the Williams Healthcare Investment logo barely visible under the harsh light. She glanced at it, then back at his scuffed sneakers. The disconnect clearly didn't compute. What Susan didn't know, and what nobody in that ER knew, was that Marcus had bought this hospital 3 months ago. He wasn't here tonight as the CEO. He was just a dad who'd driven 40 minutes through empty streets praying his little girl would be okay. Marcus settled into a chair with Sophia curled in his lap like a wounded bird. The security camera's red light blinked in the corner. A security guard Johnson took up position nearby. Not obvious, but obvious enough if you knew what to look for. Marcus knew. He watched the rhythm of triage like only someone who'd run hospitals could. And he saw it white family with a kid who'd cut his hand. Called back in 10 minutes. Elderly white woman with chest pain. Straight through. Sophia. Still waiting. Every time the door opened, Marcus hoped to hear her name. Every time, another family went ahead. The clock ticked past midnight. Sophia whimpered, "Daddy, my tummy hurts so bad." "I know, baby," he whispered, stroking her hair. "They'll help you soon." But his jaw was tight enough to crack. When he asked again about her status, Susan slid him more paperwork, insurance forms, medical history, emergency contacts, things he hadn't seen any other family fill out tonight. And when he pushed back, she smiled that tight, fake smile and said, "It's hospital policy." Marcus knew better. He'd bought enough hospitals to know when a policy was being used as a wall instead of a doorway. It was 1:30 a.m. when Dr. Hendricks finally appeared. Tall, silver hair, crisp, white coat, the kind of guy who'd probably been the smartest kid in his med school class 25 years ago and had never let anyone forget it. "Stomach pain," he said, glancing at the chart instead of Sophia. "Could be gas. Could be something she ate. Kids eat too much junk these days." Marcus kept his voice steady. "Fever of 102, vomiting for 6 hours, localized pain in the lower right abdomen. I want blood work and an ultrasound to rule out appendicitis." The doctor's eyes snapped up. "Are you a doctor, sir?" "No." "Then I think I'm qualified to determine what tests are necessary." That was the moment Marcus knew this man had already decided who they were, and nothing short of catastrophe was going to change it. Minutes later, Sophia doubled over in his arms, crying out when he accidentally pressed her abdomen. He could feel turgid, tender, textbook appendicitis. Still, the doctor suggested observation at home and walked away. Johnson, the security guard, shifted closer, murmuring into his radio about a potential disturbance. When Sophia's fever hit 104 and her body shook uncontrollably, Marcus dropped the mask. He stepped into the hall, pulled out his phone, and made one call to the hospital administrator's private line. "This is Marcus Williams. Get Dr. Peterson from surgery to the ER now." The administrator's voice sharpened immediately. "Mr. Williams, the first thought you weren't starting your facility rounds until next week." That one name Williams spread through the ER like wildfire. Susan froze mid-keystroke. Johnson backed up a step. Hendriss's face went pale. Within 20 minutes, Dr. Peterson burst through the doors, still in scrubs. One look at Sophia, and his voice cut the room in half. This child should have been in surgery an hour ago. Blood work confirmed it. Imaging confirmed it. Marcus had been right from the moment they walked in. And then, like a scene out of a movie, the hospital administrator strode in and announced to the entire staff, "This is Marcus Williams, CEO of Williams Healthcare Investment and the new owner of St. Mary's Hospital." The silence that followed was heavy. Sophia went into surgery within the hour. Peterson came out afterward with the kind of look that tells you just how close you came to losing everything. "Another few hours, and her appendix would have ruptured," he said. At 8 a.m., Marcus sat at the head of a long conference table. Evidence spread before him: security footage, timestamps, audio clips from his phone. Just the steady voice of a man who'd had enough. "Dr. Hendriss," he began, "you had every opportunity to provide standard care. You didn't. You let personal bias dictate medical decisions, and you nearly killed my daughter." The doctor was suspended pending investigation. Susan was given mandatory bias training and a formal reprimand. Johnson was sent for retraining on patient interaction. But Marcus made it clear this wasn't about one night or 3 people. This was about the whole system. A patient advocate program, ongoing bias training, anonymous reporting lines, public audits of wait times and treatment broken down by race. "This isn't revenge," Marcus told them. "This is reform. If it can happen to my daughter, it can happen to anyone. And it stops now." 3 weeks later, Marcus stood in the hospital auditorium, packed with staff, patients, and community leaders. He told the story from the beginning not as a CEO, but as a father. "Healthcare discrimination isn't always loud," he said. "Sometimes it's the quiet decisions. The ones that decide who waits and who doesn't." Sophia, healthy again, sat in the front row. At one point, she'd asked him why the people of the hospital were mean to them. His answer had been simple. "Sometimes people are afraid of what they don't understand, but we can help them learn." Marcus looked out at the crowd. Every family deserves dignity, respect, and care, no matter what they look like, where they come from, or what they can pay. That's not politics. That's basic human decency. The applause rose slowly at first, then built into something that felt like a promise. And as Marcus stepped down from the podium, Sophia slipped her hand into his. "Daddy," she whispered, "does this mean no other kid will have to wait like I did?" Marcus didn't lie. He squeezed her hand and said, "It means we're going to fight like hell to make sure of it."